Hello and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Now apologies for sort of being away the last couple of days, there's nothing I could really do about it. So if you did miss yesterday's video, which was the finale, the season finale, not the entire finale, I'm going to be still carrying on with it, MotoGP 20 Career Mode at Valencia, do go check that out. If you're just here for the F1 Career Mode, we're here for round 2 at the Bahrain Grand Prix, so we'll quickly have a look through sort of the facilities and stuff, see if there's anything we've got to do before the race weekend. So R&D wise, we don't have many R&D points. I think these upgrades are going to come in after Bahrain, so unfortunately I'm not going to be there in time. So I hadn't actually looked at the sponsor placements on the car yet. I have just gone and had a look at that now. We hadn't actually got the second sponsor on the car at all, so I've now put them on there for this race. There is some free slots available. I think I'll leave these free ready for the sponsors that will fill the slots. Obviously you can have up to 5 sponsors at once, but the car actually looks quite nice now, I must say. Well, I liked it anyway, but it looks a little bit better with an extra couple of sponsors on it, albeit still quite bare, but I suppose that is quite realistic since we have only got 2 sponsors. So we'll head into the Bahrain Grand Prix. There's no other things left to do. So here we are then at the workstation. We've got a message. Let's have a look at this. So it's just the weather forecast and the weekend preview. Obviously showing us the championship standings, the constructor standings, but we already know those from the previous episode. So there's nothing else to do, so I'll head straight into practice 1 and I'll see you at the end of that session to see how we got on with the R&D's objectives. So then, with 5 minutes left to go in the first free practice session, there's not enough time for me to do the qualifying pace, but I've done the track acclimatisation, tyre management, fuel management, ERS management, race strategy, and we've done 3 of the 5 team objectives. So as you can see, the only 2 we haven't done are relating to the qualifying pace, so when we do the qualifying pace, hopefully that should achieve all those. Track acclimatisation, I did all 3 laps, but I couldn't get any better than green. If you have a look, we got purple on most of the corners, so this track seems to be extremely harsh. I think it's probably maybe because there's not as many corners as Melbourne, although I could be wrong, there probably is more, knowing my look now saying that. I can't really remember off the top of my head how many the corners there are at Melbourne, but as you can see, not many that we got green, and we didn't get red on any. So then we'll end this first practice session. I'll go back out in practice 2 and do the qualifying pace. So then, not as competitive as we were last time in practice. Obviously we had done the objectives, and Correa was actually faster than me by only about a 1/10 of a second, so it is quite close, and I wasn't really using all of my ERS, so I don't know about what Correa was doing, but as you can see, we're not too competitive at this track. I mean, it is a similar place to where we qualified, I suppose, in Australia, but this circuit we're definitely going to struggle since we have got the power of Honda, obviously, in the back, which this is a power circuit, Bahrain, so the Honda power unit is probably going to hold us back a little bit here, and unlike the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri as well, to a certain extent, we haven't got the downforce to make up the time elsewhere around the circuit. So 18th and 20th, being beaten there by Correa. We can't let him beat us again in the race, but obviously it is only practice 1, so it doesn't matter a massive amount. So then, in this free practice session, I know it says I've only done 1 lap here, but I've been sitting here trying this program for so long. I just can't do it. I can't get anywhere near the time. The time is absolutely ridiculous, the time that they give you to do, at least for this car anyway. It just doesn't seem to work. So we managed to get fastest sector 1, that team objective, so it was still worth doing the session. We still gained an extra 10 additional R&D points. But honestly, the car is just so bad in the last couple of sectors. You just lose so much time, and you can only really gain like a 1/10 or 2 in the first sector anyway. So I think that's where I'm going to end practice. I can't be bothered to just keep trying this because I can't do it anyway, so it's not really worth the extra resource points. So we'll head into qualifying now then, and I'll see you there. So here we are then for qualifying in Bahrain. Now, judging off that free practice pace, it doesn't look like we're going to be particularly strong, but we'll give it all we've got anyway. Hopefully me and Correa can try and be quite close to getting through into Q2. Obviously last time we weren't too far away. We were actually on course to get through until right at the end when we got beat by the Haas cars. The team actually went up to acclaim level 3 in the cutscene, but I didn't get it on footage, so apologies for that, but we'll see it at the end of the weekend. But I just thought I'd give it a quick mention, just in case I forget later on to say that we'd already got up to acclaim level 3 earlier on in the weekend. So obviously it is going to be cloudy apparently for this session, so we'll head straight out onto the track and I'll try and do the fastest lap I can straight away. So here we are then, straight out onto the track in this qualifying session. I really hope that we can do a little bit better than we were doing in practice. I think the time might not have been quite that representative because we were pretty far up the order. I think we were in the top 10 based on that time. Obviously not everyone was doing a qualifying run in free practice 2, but there were a couple of other cars like the Alfa Romeos, I think and we were quite comfortably ahead of them. There's a break for the first corner. They actually braked a bit early, but then still managed to go in wide, so you don't see that every day. Anyway, track is standing a little bit there, losing the rear end. This has not been a great lap so far for Giovinazzi doing a 1:30.1, which I think is what I managed to pull off in the end. And I had gone faster on one of the previous attempts. We've gone in massively wide though into this corner here, so yeah, it's not been a very, very clean lap so far. We will see. Charles Leclerc does a 27.5. Right, we're not going to be getting anywhere near Leclerc in this session, that's for sure. Definitely won't be qualifying on pole for this race. We've gone so wide. We're definitely going to have to do another lap of this. It's been absolutely atrocious so far, but I really do struggle to get it hooked up for a qualifying lap. I will be honest, that is something I struggle with on every game really, but especially the F1 games. I really just can't push the car to the limits over one lap. I can drive it the same over a race stint, but I can't push the car for one lap. I just don't know what it is. I just don't have it for some reason. But it looks like the racing point of Stroll behind is catching up to us a little bit. Got to watch out for that inside curb. You can spin out on that very easily. So I wonder if that will happen in the race to anybody, any of the AI or to myself, of course. But Stroll really is gaining on us. It has been a pretty poor lap as we go down towards the final turn of the lap. Well, it's sort of like 2 turns in a way. I think it actually might be classed as 2, I'm not too sure. They're out of the last corner, coming up towards the line then. Activating the DRS, coming up towards the line. 1 minute 30.8, so quite a bit off everybody else. So hopefully the next lap will be a bit better. So coming up towards the line then, we're 8 tenths underneath on this lap. Where's that going to put us? Just ahead of Giovinazzi then, just behind Kvyat, one of the other Honda power cars in the AlphaTauri, of course. So we'll head back to the pits then, and we'll go out for another run because we'll probably need to put on a fresh set of tyres and improve the lap a little bit. So here we go then for a second run. We're actually still behind Correa, so we definitely need to try and beat Correa. He's been probably a bit quicker than us this weekend, so I need to try and outshine him here. So coming up towards the line, we are improving the time by just a little bit. Yes, we just go ahead of Correa then. We're going to keep going for another lap, see if we can improve on that even more. So as we come up towards the line then, we're just a very small amount underneath, 13 thousandths underneath the time there. Actually, I think we might be in about 18 thousandths overall. We're going to not have enough fuel to go for another lap, so that will be at the end of our qualifying then with just a few minutes left in the session. So hopefully Correa doesn't beat my time, but there's a good chance that he will. So then at the end of the first qualifying session, let's see how it ended up. Yes, we managed to out-qualify Correa, which is quite a big psychological blow there. Obviously, he's been quicker than me basically the entire weekend, so I'm really happy that we've managed to out-qualify him there. And considering how I thought we were going to be a little bit less competitive, we actually qualified 19th and 20th, the same positions we qualified in the previous round. Grosjean up in 14th, I've just seen as well there, so hopefully he won't crash into us this race, but you never know, it could happen. Giovinazzi must have improved because he was behind the 2 Williamses, I think, and he's gone ahead and improved by a good half a second. But we only just out-qualified Correa, so we are very close this weekend, so we could be battling, but I really want to get one over on him in this race. Obviously, he managed to beat me last week. Wasn't all entirely my fault, but he did do some fantastic defending on the last couple of laps. A little bit of an interesting thing with Gasly, but, you know, he still had to defend everywhere else. Well, I couldn't get past him, so fair play to Correa that time, but I want to beat him this weekend.
We're here again then at a circuit famous for its stunning visuals and thrilling battles for glory. Who will take the spotlight in the Bahrain Grand Prix today? There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, let's talk about Charles Leclerc. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez, Ocon, and Lance Stroll, Norris, Gasly, Kimi Raikkonen, and Leclerc, Kvyat, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kevin Magnussen, a Mercedes, Correa, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
We need you to get some early passes in if we want to improve on our last race finish. Give it your best shot.
So then we're here on the grid, and Crofty is still calling me a Mercedes. I forgot to change the audio name. So we have a look at the strategy then. We've got either a 1 or a 2 stop this time. So we actually get to pick mediums to hard tyres is what we're on right now. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's what they have given me, and last time the strategies they gave were pretty good. Obviously I did have to deviate slightly from what they expected, but the hard tyres were really good at the end, so hopefully if the hard tyres are as good at this circuit. So I see no reason why we shouldn't start this race straight away, try and get off to a good start, and hopefully don't get taken out on the first lap this time. So here we are then, 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, waiting for the lights to go here. The lights out and away we go, using the overtake button straight away. It's been a fantastic start, pulling alongside Kevin Magnussen. There's not going to be much room to get off the power there to not hit into the back of Giovinazzi. As we go down towards the first corner, Giovinazzi covering the outside pretty well. We're going in a bit deep, bit of a lock up there. That might damage the tyres around the outside of Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's sort of gone into me a little bit there, but Leclerc had a grid penalty, so that's why he's quite far down the order. So up into 16th place, we've got a bit of contact with Leclerc, though Leclerc's still there, and he's got in front of us, which I suppose is to be expected. I'm not using any overtake button, I don't really know why. Grosjean's up the inside, so I'm a bit scared that Grosjean's going to actually take me out again. So we can't just let Grosjean through there, so not the best start. Latifi and Russell look like they've both got ahead of Correa, so Correa's not had a great start then, unfortunately, for one Manuel. We had a great start, we've lost a bit of time. I'm going up the inside of Grosjean, but I'm not going to risk diving in because I do not want to crash with him once again in this race.
That's a decent start.
One of the Williams is on the outside. Nicholas Latifi that was, so Latifi actually ahead of Russell, so well done to Latifi. As we go into this left-hander then, trying to get on the power as early as we can, using some overtake mode to try and keep on the back of Grosjean. Obviously I do want to do a little bit better than last time. Obviously Charles Leclerc is out of sync with everybody else. He's in a Ferrari, so he should be getting through the pack pretty easily, and he obviously is only here because he had a grid penalty. So if we can try and follow him through, that would be quite good. So if we can get past Grosjean, that would definitely be the ideal scenario. But even if he can just hold up some of the cars as he's going past them, then that would be great as well. So as we go down towards the final corner, through the last turn then, we lost a little bit of time using a bit of more overtake mode out of the last corner. Obviously I don't want to use up too much at the early stages of this race. We are getting a little bit away from Latifi here in the slipstream of Grosjean as we go down towards the first corner. Grosjean getting away a little bit. Obviously the Ferrari engine is still very, very good in this game at the minute. There's not been a patch to change that or anything. So the DRS is active now, so I'm going to try and use the DRS to try and save a little bit of DRS. I've been trying to stay with Grosjean using a bit of the overtake button, so hopefully I can save some energy behind him with some DRS. But Leclerc still hasn't got past Gasly yet, so Leclerc really struggling in these early stages, it seems. He is on the medium tyre though, like I am, and obviously Grosjean is on the soft, so I don't know about Gasly. I think Gasly's actually also on the medium, so I'm not sure why he can't get past him. So here we go then, in the slipstream. DRS uses some overtake mode in the slipstream of Grosjean. He's not really actually falling back towards, obviously that Ferrari engine is so strong. But I'm going to go look for a move at the inside to turn 1 on the brakes. Grosjean moves a little bit last minute, so Grosjean to get a bit of a reckless move. Obviously we haven't touched there, so it would be fair play, but he did move not a massive amount, but quite late, and we were very close to him because I was trying to cut it fine. But it looks like we're going to sit behind him for a while because I've not got much ERS left to play with, and we've almost hit Grosjean at the back. I think I actually might have hit him, but have we picked up any damage? Around the outside of Grosjean, still goes side by side with him. But he's going to keep in front for now. But there we go, got another run up the inside, so where we looked on the move into looked into hit on lap 1, should I say. I can't speak at all, but Grosjean's still holding it through there, so I don't want to destroy these tyres fighting with Grosjean, but I do want to get past him. I think Grosjean's tyres are really going off because he's going so slow now, so it should be quite easy pickings here. We're very close. He hasn't got DRS to Leclerc anymore. Here we go to the right hand side of Grosjean. Past him we go.
Nice overtake.
Up into 17th now, so Pierre is up next because Leclerc has just got past. Also a few cars in the pits already, so I'm guessing the soft tyres have already gone off, so up into 14th place then. But we are catching up to Gasly, and that train looks to be headed by Kimi Raikkonen, I think, and he's really holding them all up. Got some more cars in the pits then. Bottas in the pits, and he's actually not in front of us this time. So last time in Australia, obviously we had lost so much time by the time all the leaders came in. They actually did come out in front of us, but this time we've come out in front of all the leaders that are in the pits. So I think it was actually Bottas, Ocon and Verstappen that were in the pits. Ocon not being a front runner, but I did see him in the pits also in the Renault. Obviously Ricciardo had already been in. We are making some progress on Gasly here. So here's Bottas right behind us, so I'm just going to let Valtteri through here on this straight. There we go. Hopefully we can then try and get a bit of DRS off him.
Focus. We need to stay on form.
Obviously there's no point fighting a Mercedes car. He's obviously going to beat us, so Well, I was going to try and stay with him in the DRS, but he's already gone. So Albon's in the pits now. So moving up into P11 for the time being. So Verstappen just going past us there. Broke a little bit early. I don't think that will actually have given us DRS on him. I think he's got the DRS from me. I think that's why he stayed behind me for so long. So that's quite clever if he did. Actually, he didn't get it either by the looks of it. But I'm used to some slipstream off him. Looks like Bottas is having quite a bit of trouble getting past Gasly ahead as well.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
Oh, so Vettel's in now, so we move ahead of Vettel, so back up into 11th again. Verstappen looking for a move on Gasly now, and it looks like Bottas has got ahead of Giovinazzi as well. But Verstappen's race has absolutely been ruined here. I think Bottas is as well, really, because they lost so much time. I mean, look how far Bottas is in front after a lap of being ahead. A lap. So here comes Albon and Vettel on the back of me. I'm not actually going to stop them from going past. So Albon's gone through. I'm not going to block Vettel, but Vettel's going to actually have to try and overtake me instead of just sitting behind me. I'm not going to pull alongside. I did that for Bottas and it was a mistake. I lost a lot of time. So if Vettel wants to actually pass me, like pull alongside on the straight, I'll brake early and let him through. I've got no problem with that, but he was just sat behind me on the previous straight. But I also think at this same time, as we're seeing the leaders struggling to get past Giovinazzi and Gasly, I've seen on the map it looks like all the midfield runners are stuck behind the Williams cars, so we're actually gaining on the other midfield runners here, who are obviously two-stopping compared to our one-stop. So if we're still in front of them by the time they have to make their second stop, we're looking good. Oh, Gasly's still going wheel-to-wheel with Verstappen. That's definitely messed them both up coming out the last corner then. Right, Vettel's right up behind me, so here comes Vettel to go past. It looks like Albon's also trying to set up a move. Leclerc's in the pits.
We're boxing this lap.
My pit window's now open, so I'm guessing I'll be pitting on this lap then, according to Jeff. But it looks like the other cars that maybe even done one stops or two stops have got back out ahead of these guys. We're going to have to have a look maybe at the race director or the instant replay to see how the order's looking. But it looks like these guys that are doing the two stop have really lost out. I mean, if they've got to pit again soon, we're fighting to the end with Vettel here. If Vettel's got to pit again right now, which should be absolutely ridiculous to think about. So here we go then. Going to come in for our pit stop, and Gasly's coming in for his as well. So we're pitting on the same lap as Pierre, which I guess is to be expected from the same strategy by the looks of it. Can we try and jump him in the pits? We are quite close. But some of these other drivers that were in that pack from before got ahead. Kimi Raikkonen was actually leading the race up until this pit stop point here. So Kimi Raikkonen, the Alfa Romeo, despite the fact that he looked like he was holding everybody else up earlier, is in a fantastic position. And here we go. Oh no, we're right behind Gasly. I didn't see him there. Perez is out of the session apparently, so yellow flags here. So I'm not sure what's exactly gone on. I forgot to take my pit limiter off. I pressed the wrong button to do it. If we have a look, Correa has come out the pits right in front. Well, we've come out the pits right behind Correa and right behind Gasly, really. But Correa's the next car up the road, so we've got almost a pit stop lead on Correa there. So he's really not got the pace in the race. I think he's been held up a little bit by the Williams. But this is the train of cars just ahead as well that are being held up by the Williamses, and they've still got another pit stop to go. So me and Gasly are really sitting pretty here in this race. Same with people like Raikkonen and Norris, and I think Stroll as well up ahead. They are really, really looking good because they're on the one-stop strategy, and these other midfielders and the two stops, and even the leaders.
It's time to utilize some of this energy.
Even the leaders to a certain extent have been a bit affected by this. So the two stops definitely seems to be the way to not go with this one. You definitely want to go with the one stop because you lose so much time with the two stop. But we'll try and get past Gasly at the start of this stint if we can then. So Correa peeling off into the pits then. So we're a pit stop ahead of him. There's a Williams as well in there. Yeah, it's telling me teammate is in the pits. But here we go, got a good run on Gasly. Giovinazzi put out the pits as well. Go to the inside of Gasly. So Giovinazzi's definitely lost out on this outlap then with me and Gasly because we both jumped him here. But Gasly's kept the position for now on the switchback. Here we go up the hill to the right hand side with the DRS. We're still using the overtake. We're using too much overtake mode. But here we go past Gasly. I've turned it off now as we go towards the next corner, hitting the brakes. And we've got it through. So Ocon is the car ahead. And then ahead of him, it's Leclerc. So Leclerc's really not made his way through the order.
They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
So it takes me all those laps to pass Gasly, and I finally get in front of him, and now he's got an issue, which is probably helpful because he's going to hold up Giovinazzi behind. But it's annoying that I've been sat behind him for so long, and then as soon as I finally get past him, he then now gets an issue. It's a bit annoying. Gasly's already fell out of the DRS with this issue, so I do feel bad for Gasly because he's been driving fantastically so far in this race. He's battling with the leaders. Quite sure why he was doing that. I don't know, because he hasn't actually gained from it. He's lost time definitely because he didn't even keep them behind. If he kept them behind, and you could argue was fighting with them to the end, it kind of would make a little bit of sense, but he's just lost out really. So here we go then, Sainz in the pits, Ricciardo in the pits for their second stops. So this will be it, who we're fighting with to the end. Obviously there'll be some more, but we're up to P12 currently, still with some cars ahead to pit, so we are looking good. We might be able to get some points in this race. The two-stop really hasn't worked out, although, saying that, they are going to have extremely fresh tyres at the end. They are going to be catching up to all of us one-stoppers very, very quickly, so it does remain to be seen, but at least at this point, the one-stop seems better. So here we go then, Ocon in on this lap. That puts us up to P11. So I'm hoping that the one more person pits, otherwise it'd be really disappointing to be fighting for 11th rather than points. It'd still be great, but it'd be nice if one more person could pit. But Giovinazzi is catching up to me very, very quickly. So I did actually check, no one else in front is going to pit. They've either all done their 2 stops or they've done 1. Hamilton currently leading the race on a 1 stop, so it'll be interesting to see if Bottas can catch him up. But he's on a bit of a blinder here with a 1 stop because he will have gained so much time whilst Bottas has been held up behind Gasly and Giovinazzi. He must have been behind them for about 3 or 4 laps, which will have cost him so much time because as soon as he got through, I couldn't even see him after a lap. So he's probably losing about 3, maybe even 4 seconds a lap. So some of those guys doing 2 stops got held up so much they've still not even caught to Gasly yet, and he's dropped about 11 seconds back. Well, he's dropped 11 seconds back and me about 10 seconds back of Giovinazzi with that issue, and they still haven't caught him up yet. So it looks like we actually might be okay because they are running out of laps to catch us. But they got held up so much by those Williams cars in the first stint because I saw the massive train on the map. It was ridiculously long. So they must have lost so much time, like the leaders were losing behind Giovinazzi and Gasly, really probably just like that to us. So me and Giovinazzi look like we'll probably be the 2 fighting for this 11th place to the end of the race. I can't see the other guys catching us up at this point. With 6 laps to go, they'd have to catch by about 2 seconds a lap. I mean, they're not... Oh, Ricciardo is now through, so Ricciardo might have a chance of catching us. He'll have to catch about 2 seconds a lap. Oh no, actually, we're only on lap 22, so it won't be quite 2 seconds a lap. But Ricciardo will have to catch us very, very rapidly. He might have a shot, but I don't know about the others.
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining. Some information on Norris. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Oh, Norris has an issue with his car, and he's in 9th place. So depending on how much time he loses, he's 6 seconds up the road, 6-7 seconds up the road. He actually might fall into our clutches.
7.0 seconds.
Yeah, so Leclerc is 7 seconds in front. A couple of tenths ahead of him is Lando Norris. So if Norris has an issue as bad as what Gasly's had, me and Giovinazzi might want to catch him, and it might be a fight for 10th place, which would be heartbreaking for Norris, but for us, that would be fantastic. Ricciardo 8 seconds behind. We're still probably quite safe to Ricciardo now. I'm having to save a little bit of fuel because I didn't realise how little we had. I'm going to go back up into standard, but I will keep my eye on it because we were optimal fuel basically. And I need to watch the ERS as well. We only got 30% left. So Leclerc has now moved ahead of Norris, but Norris doesn't seem to be losing that much time.
Okay, some information on Magnussen. They're retiring from the race.
No, Magnussen's out of the race. Not going to affect us because he was really far behind us. Hopefully there's no VSC or anything. Doesn't seem like there will be, but I don't think we'll be able to catch Lando anyway. He's about 4 seconds ahead and there's a lap and a half to go.
There's only 1 lap.
So we're really lacking on ERS. I think he might be in our DRS even, but we're 3.6 seconds behind Lando. So Lando is definitely off the table here. So it's all about focusing on Giovinazzi behind us. Ricciardo's 4 seconds behind, so the 2-stop hasn't worked out today, at least for the midfielders. We'll have to see who's in the lead of the race, of course, at the end. Will it be Hamilton? Will it be Bottas? But who cares about that right now? We've got to try and defend this 11th place from Giovinazzi. He is closing up to us massively here, and he's definitely going to have DRS later on in the lap. So Giovinazzi's right behind us. Good job there's not another lap to go. We have still got to watch out though, of course, but I'm just trying to save a little bit of ERS. We've got 25% left, so we should be able to use it on this back straight and then on the front straight as well, hopefully just to get away from him. But Ricciardo's made big inroads on this lap, so I think it's me that's really struggling, because in fact Norris actually got away from us on this lap, so we are really struggling on the tyres here on the final lap. But here we go then, up towards the line. Giovinazzi's got a good run, but it's going to be 11th place here in our second race in My Team Career Mode.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Wow, Jeff sounds suitably pleased. But we did get driver of the day. Yes, get in there.
That's it for another spectacular Grand Prix here in Bahrain, and a real champion's drive to take the win. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. So let's review the updated driver's standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I'm going to give it to the owner driver today. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
So then, in the end, the two-stop didn't seem to be too bad. It did for the leaders, if you have a look. I mean, compared to Hamilton. Hamilton, the only leader, so the only top three car that did the one-stop, and he won by 16 seconds. So it really, really shows how much time they lost. I mean, we saw firsthand. We didn't really see what happened with the other midfield cars. I don't know whether I will have found some footage and put that in, just to show you how much they've been held up. But we saw firsthand how much time Bottas, Verstappen, Vettel and Albon all lost behind basically just the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi and then, of course, Gasly in the AlphaTauri. So if we have a look at the standings, then it's actually going to be different this time. We move up to 14th place in the standings, so we're actually top 0-point driver. So let's see who's actually winning the Drivers' Championship. So still Bottas, but only 2 points ahead of Hamilton, after obviously Hamilton dominating in that race. But yeah, Sergio Perez with 2 points is the next driver ahead of us. But we are beating Correa by quite a bit. Correa down in 19th. If I look at the Constructors' Championship, we're now the top scoring team with 0 points as well. We move ahead of Haas, which is our rival for the season, so that is very, very good. So we'll head back into sort of the HQ area and we'll have a look and see if anything has come up, whether we'll have a new sponsor or whatever. We'll see the rewards we get for this race.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Right, so I think I'll go with the car sticking to the track because we do want to do some upgrades that aren't on the engine.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
I think if I do this, it'll affect the acclaim, so we'll go with that one.
Appreciate your time.
Oh, so I've gone up to acclaim level 2 then. Correa's still on acclaim level 4, but look how much our acclaim's going up. It's almost up to level 4, so it's almost gone up 2 levels over this weekend. So that's been a very, very good weekend. Obviously, a good result as well. We got the 96k from our secondary sponsor as well, because both of our cars finished, so it's a really, really good weekend. So then we're back in the HQ now, let's have a look at the activity. So we've got quite a bit of time to fill, but we'll have a look at the messages first. So this is the performance then. So we've actually dropped behind Haas. I'm guessing they must have brought some updates or something then. So this is what we're looking like apparently on the R&D. So we're only better than Williams, so we really, really outperformed the car then in that race. But obviously it was strange with all the strategy and stuff. We got almost 3 million in the bank as well, so we definitely need to maybe start having a look at improving some areas of the facilities and things like that. So we've got quite a bit of time to kill before the Grand Prix, so we'll have a look, see what we can do. So durability department, so that gives us 30 resource points and 5% on the durability. Reaction training, that puts 1 awareness up on Correa then. Driver promotion, that gives it 100 acclaim on the driver. Aero team buildings, that gives us 5% on the department morale for the aerodynamics, but it takes away 5k. The equipment upgrade, that gives another 5% for the durability and another 30 resource points. And if we do this, then we actually gain 30k, and we also get 500 acclaim. So I'm going to definitely go for that one, stick that one in there. So if we upgrade the durability department, that doesn't cost any money, we just get some free resource points. And there's another 2 days free, so we may as well actually just help Correa's awareness be a little bit better. So we actually managed to fill up all the time there, so that's really, really nice. So then all the areas we've got, so we've got the aerodynamics, so So we can improve the fabrication, build time, quality control, the resource points generation. The same on the chassis. The personnel then, so your second driver's pace, that will be improved. Fitness center, your second driver's racecraft and awareness, that will be improved. And analysis suite, your second driver's experience, that will be improved. So right now I'm not going to bother with the personnel section at all, because I'm not sure how long we're going to keep Korea anyway. It could be for a really long time, it could not be for very long, but obviously if we were ever struggling with a driver, we could potentially just hire a better one anyway, so it's not really worth the money putting into the facility. It might be later on, but whilst we're starting out, not really, I don't think. So powertrain then, so we can't afford that fabrication. Obviously we're already on spec 1 here as a powertrain, so I'm not going to put anything on the powertrain, we can't afford to anyway, but since the powertrain's already so good, we may as well leave it for now. And then we've also got durability. So we've got 2 million, well actually nearly 3 million, so we could spend 2 million and be left with another million, which should be pretty safe. So I definitely think we should probably upgrade something at least, definitely. Oh, we've also got the marketing section, but again we can't, well actually we can afford this upgrade here, but to be honest I don't think it really matters too much. I would probably put a little bit into the sponsor relations, but we can't afford that, so not good to bother. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put this 1.5 million on the durability, just because it gives us an extra 60 resource points. I think that's the same for all of these, but it's the cheapest way to do that. So the way I see it, makes more sense to do it on this durability here. So we'll put the 1.5 million into here, and then it should be there for the 28th of March. So I'm not sure how far away that's going to be, but the next upgrade I'll put on something else that's not the durability. So obviously it's going to take a long time to upgrade these facilities, so it really is going to be a long-term thing if you want to get your facilities maxed out. Obviously you only really need to get the car to a decent amount. So at the minute we get 120 resource points weekly, but we're going to try and increase that if we can. So the aero got some really good morale at the minute. So we can't put any more upgrades on there because we've already got one on there. So let's have a look at the chassis then. So we can afford this part here. I think it's the only one we can get, isn't it? Because all the other ones have been purchased already. So what's this do? So this puts us ahead of Alfa, well we're already ahead of Alfa Romeo, but it'll close up to AlphaTauri ahead. Not quite going to overtake them, but we'll put this on as a minor upgrade. 550 resource points, we can afford to do that. So there we go. We'll upgrade that. 40% failure chance apparently. So yeah, if we have a look at the progress history, then Haas brought some upgrades into Bahrain, whereas we didn't. So Haas caught up to us. We're about level. To be honest, if anything, it looks like our line's ahead, but it says Haas is better overall. So fair enough, I guess. So if we have a look at the R&D, what do we got then? So that first upgrade that failed the first time should be arriving on the 26th. Then the other one should be arriving on the 29th. And then there should be an upgrade on the 6th of April. And then one on the 12th of April as well. So I don't see anything else to do except advance forward up to the next weekend. The Vietnam Grand Prix. So that'll be a very interesting episode next time out then. So there we go then. That takes us up to the Vietnam Grand Prix. So that's where we'll end off this episode then. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Probably not quite as action-packed as Australia, obviously, because we were battling with some of the cars a bit further down. But to be honest, there was still some good battling going on throughout the pack. And as well, you've also got to take into account that the strategy was very interesting in that race. It completely changed the face of that race. Whether Vietnam will be the same, obviously it is a street circuit. It's a new street circuit as well, so that means definitely going to be some mistakes on my part there. And hopefully there'll be some mistakes from the AI as well, because we've seen very little in terms of AI crashes. In fact, the only crash we've had is with Grosjean, and that was obviously with me. Whereas maybe you could say, I still think it's Grosjean's fault, but you could say it's not an AI on AI crash, because you could say the player played some sort of part in that. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that video then, guys. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next video.